You're listening to Hump Day News and Rumors on Mousecapades Radio.
Get ready for something majestic.
The following is an original production of the Mousecapades Radio Network.
Now, from the Mousecapades Studios, here are your hosts.
Happy Hump Day, Mousecapades listeners. This is Vicki, and I'm here with Stephanie, Brandy, and Chrissy. We hope that you're all staying safe, happy, and healthy. This is episode 818, and you're listening to the number one podcast that entertains that space between your ears, the Mousecapades and More podcast.
Just a reminder that the Mousecapades and More podcast is a part of the Your Story travel company. If you're looking to book a trip, we would be glad to help. Just text Chrissy, Brandy, Vicki, or myself, Stephanie, at 636-373-4497, and we would be happy to get with you to design a magical vacation. A small refundable deposit of $200 will hold your resort and ticket package, so contact one of us today.
So it seemed crazy for me to find this week, and it may seem crazy to you guys, but Epcot's Food and Wine Festival is like right around the corner. I know it's July 27th, but that's going to be here before we know it, because the end of the school year is going to be here before we end to know it. It's going to run through November the 18th. And if you are a foodie and you've not been to Disney, you need to be there for this festival. I mean, any of their festivals are fantastic, but this one especially has some amazing food. They're going to have 25 global marketplaces throughout the park. The Fry Basket, Flavors from Fire, India and Spain marketplaces for sure are going to be back, and their favorites from the past. New this year is called Emil's Fromage Montage, which I want to delve into because it's like you get to taste a bunch of cheesy dishes. That just sounds amazing.
I love cheese.
Yes. And then Remy's Ratatouille Hide and Squeak is back, where, you take your child around and look for Remy. And also this year, they're going to have Pluto's Pumpkin Pursuit, which seemed super fun. It's a pumpkin scavenger hunt, and it's only from September 29th to October 31st, but I will be there, so I may have to partake of that. And then the Eat to the Beat concerts are also going to return to the American Gardens Theater. So food and wine, if you need help with that, we would love to book a trip for you. You will not be sorry. That is one of my favorite festivals. I mean, they're all great, like I said, but it's very, very cool. I love that one.
It is a great one. And the food, like you said, you can't ever go wrong with Epcot food, but there's some really great choices at the Food and Wine Festival.
There is.
So we have an update on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This week, Disney told us that Mama Odie will be joking with guests on their ride through the bayou. Legendary Jennifer Lewis will be reprising the role of Mama Odie. This ride's going to bring attention to Mama Odie, the Bayou fairy godmother, and the important role she has in Tiana's life. Sharika Mahdi was commissioned to help the Imagineers' creation, and Sharika inspired the Imagineers, helping them to understand the New Orleans perspective. Here are a few other things that we can look forward to with this new ride. There'll be dozens of entirely new animatronics. So that's something we were hoping that kind of like they do, I guess, in Pandora, the big animatronics, instead of just, the tiny ones with like an arm that waves or something. So a little more high tech there. The scent of beignets will be piped into the queue, which I'm super excited about. A little bit more immersive there. A new original music will be is going to accompany the familiar movie tunes. Tiana's Bayou Adventure builds on the story of Princess Tiana, a character whose pride and perseverance reminds us of a universal truth. Within us lies the potential to make our dreams come true.
I'm hoping that means they're going to have a beignet stand nearby.
Right. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, if they're going to make you stand there and smell them, that's just wrong.
Right.
Well, my next thought was I want to see some statistics on people visiting Port Orleans French Quarter and the Scat Cats Lounge after they leave Magic Kingdom.
Right.
And see if that people are like, okay, where do I get these things?
But I agree. Like, it needs to be there in the park. They need the beignets. I mean, they would sell quickly. They would make
Oh, yeah.
quite a bit of money, especially when they're wafting them in. It's hard enough to walk past the popcorn stand and not immediately just feel the need to eat popcorn or funnel cake stand when you smell that. So if you're standing in line and smelling it the entire time, you're going to want to walk out and immediately get yourself a beignet.
They should have it right outside the exit.
And I think it would do really well.
Right.
On April 11th, 1938, 26 men gathered in Tulsa, Oklahoma to sing. That very moment is considered the birth of the organized barbershop quartet. That group turned into the Barbershop Harmony Society, and now Disney gets to celebrate the barbershop birthday on that day, April 11th, every single year. The Dapper Dance started in Disneyland on Main Street, USA in 1957, and the tradition has continued since. The Dapper Dance can be seen and heard in Disney World now, too. There's nothing like hearing the amazing harmonies from the Dapper Dance. If you haven't ever heard them, the next time you're at Magic Kingdom, ask a cast member when you can catch them. It is a fun, special performance you won't want to miss.
I love the Dapper Dance.
I do too. And I asked Kaylee and she never did tell me. Those little thingies that they hold, they're like having a xylophone in your hand kind of thing. And they play them, but they have a special name and I cannot think of what it is.
Right. Michael has played those because he plays percussion in the band at House Central, and he plays all sorts of different percussion instruments, and he's played those.
They're really cool.
Right. He might know. And I've gone to school concerts and I'm like, what's he going to play tonight? And he's played the cowbell.
Hey, I like the cowbell. I can play that.
I do too. While filming the live-action Little Mermaid movie, Halle Bailey said she almost broke her neck.
Oh.
Remember the iconic and gorgeous hair-flipping moment in the 1989 animated version of the movie? Well, Halle had to reenact that scene, but she hurt her neck so bad she thought she may have broken her neck. You can actually severely damage your neck when girls do this at the beach or at the pool. Sorry, I had to laugh at this because, I see girls on Instagram trying to recreate this, and they fail horribly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wet hair is actually heavier than you think, and if the flip is done incorrectly, you could actually have a whiplash effect. We are glad to hear that Halle is okay, but a good tip to all of us: don't flip your wet hair like Ariel for your own safety. Another thing we've heard about the live action Little Mermaid is how long it is. Did you know the movie is 135 minutes long? That is nearly an hour longer than the 1989 animated version.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a long movie.
I am getting really excited though. I saw Melissa McCarthy in all the makeup. Oh my gosh. Because I love her. I don't think of her as an evil character. So I'm looking forward to seeing that side of her.
Right.
I kind of wish it wasn't so long. I mean, it's geared for young children as well. I guess it's also geared for all of us who grew up with Little Mermaid. So obviously we want to go see it, but young kids are going to want to see it too. And that's just hard for them to sit through.
That just makes me not want to go to the theater when it's that long.
Yeah, I want to be able to pause it and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can be so engulfed that we don't even realize it's that long. That's what I was going to say, Steph. We should all go have a girls, unless Keith wants to go. And because I know Kaylee wants to go see it too. We should all go to the theater together, and then we'll just keep giving her popcorn and soda. That's what I did with Kaylee when she went to the movies, and she always was able to hang out.
Lucy could probably hold it for longer than I can. She's fine.
Speaking of long movies, I have my tickets to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Do you?
Yes. I'm going to see it on May 6th.
Oh, wow.
The Easter Bunny brought me tickets.
Is that when it comes out on May 6th?
It comes out May 5th. So we're going to see it on the 6th.
Oh man, Kaylee's going to be out of town.
And I'm so excited, and I'm going to cry, but I'm going to eat a big bucket of popcorn, and I'm not going to drink a big soda because it's going to be a long movie, and I'm going to have to go to the bathroom.
How long is that one?
That one said 2 hours and 30 minutes.
It's a Marvel movie. I mean,
and then you're going to have to sit through the end credits to see what's coming up next. We just rewatched the first two Guardians movies, and the second Guardians movie was a good 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I mean, my kids sat through those.
And I mean,
too.
we could pause it as we needed. And
So you need to pack grapes in if you don't know this already, pack grapes in your purse, because grapes give you the liquid, but then they don't make you have to go to the bathroom as fast.
oh, that's good to know.
Interesting.
I went on a trip with my choir teacher and she's like, we're taking one bathroom break, girls. It was a 6-hour trip. She was taking us to audition for her college. And she's like, I brought pretzels for our crunchy and grapes. Then we won't have to stop because they don't hydrate. They hydrate you, but not so much you have to go to the bathroom. Good tips to have. So, girls, Brad gets to play his favorite song that he made, Say It Ain't So. Say it ain't so, say it ain't so. So I have the first one for tonight, and that is, this one's very sad to me. An adult allegedly struck a child in the face with a dog leash while visiting Disney's Hollywood Studios in Orlando. The complaint was received about Christmas time last year, with a heavily redacted report being released months later. It apparently occurred on December 14th at Walt Disney World's theme park. And at the time of the article, the identity and child were unknown. A security guard actually witnessed the incident and was able to give a testimony to the authorities. The adult male was wearing a white shirt. I don't know why this matters, but I'm having it in here anyway. Was wearing a white shirt, tan pants, and tan shoes, struck a juvenile male wearing all blue with the free end of a red dog leash, according to the report. Said action occurred after the adult had a misstep while the juvenile crossed in front of him. And this action occurred after the adult recovered from the misstep and appeared to be a deliberate action as he intentionally struck the child across the face with the leash. The young boy had a red mark on his face after the incident. The man with the leash, who had a service dog, denied that he struck the child on purpose. He claimed it was simply swinging of the leash out of habit. The child's injury was documented and photographed, and DCF was eventually contacted.
There's so many questions. Like,
Right.
were they in the same party?
I was gonna say, if they call DCF, that means that's like his child, right?
No, you can get a call on you for DCF for any sort of child abuse.
Right.
Oh, even if it's not your child. I thought you would just be arrested if it wasn't your child.
I would think so.
Like, gosh.
So when I first saw this, I saw child hit with leash. I wasn't laughing, but we've had so many stories where people are mad about kids being put on a leash.
Like the kid leash.
Yeah.
That's what I was envisioning. And the more I read the story and the research, I'm like, oh my gosh, what an idiot.
I mean, and he had a service dog, so you would think he would be more sympathetic to, like, I don't know, just the fact that things happen. The dog's pulling here and here. He probably gets in people's way, so he's upset because this little kid got in his way, and he decided to hit him with the leash.
Yeah.
Like, it just, yikes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping he's getting some treatment or something.
I mean, I would hope that that's an accident, but I don't see any sane person being like seeing that happen and be like, oh,
yeah, you had to hit
you
hard.
kind of know the difference between an accident and on purpose. Like, you can
Right.
tell.
And it was obviously reported because if it was if it was a genuine accident, you would literally be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, it wouldn't warrant security getting involved unless the child needed medical attention. Like, it would not warrant security getting involved in making that call if it appeared to be an accident.
Wow.
I mean, I've seen people become, steamrolled by strollers and no one even does anything. So
That's so rude.
I know. And I've seen kids have their ankles rolled over and
I know.
so many people in a crowd, they just keep going. I mean, so it had to be an obvious incident to garner the attention of security and get reported.
If you can feel a bump that you just went over, you check and look, because more than likely you ran over somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So sad.
Ugh. Well, I hate to say it, guys, but I'm going to do Say It Ain't So number 2.
Say it ain't so, say it ain't so.
This one is about rule breaking, which seems to be happening more and more and more. And this particular story is also about thieving. That's right. Thieves who ruined a Disney vacation. This family bought their 2 children a porg while they were visiting Disney Studios' Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The porgs have been well loved by my children, explained the guest. My son especially loves to hold him close to his face when he's feeling anxious and squeeze it to activate the sound. He'll close his little eyes and listen to the porg noises, and it calms him right down. We were waiting for the Disneyland train at the Main Street station, and as we got off the bench to board, my son dropped his porg. It was only a few seconds before my husband noticed and backtracked across the platform to look for it, but it was gone. We checked with the train station, lost and found, and no one had turned it in. A few hours later, our remaining porg disappeared from our stroller while it was parked away from us. Needless to say, this will be the children's memory of the happiest place on earth. And in their eyes, it may be the saddest place on earth. Guys, don't steal from people, especially from children. I really hope that the first one was just a mishap. Somebody picked it up and they were trying to take it to get turned in, and they happened to miss the people. But when the other one got stolen, like that was clear. That's from the stroller.
Oh, and also I want to apologize because I put Hollywood Studios, but it was just Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. So I apologize, listeners, if that's my bad, not Stephanie's.
I just kind of flew right past that. Didn't even make the correlation.
It's okay. It's my fault, not yours.
Please, guests, don't leave valuables in your strollers when you park your strollers.
And I get it. As a parent with small children, like there are things that I have to leave in the stroller because I cannot lug them and all three of my kids and every single thing I brought to the park with me. So some stuff gets left in the stroller. However, if it's something that means a lot to my child,
right,
that's not one of the items that gets left behind. You know, I always say, if you want to take my diapers and wipes, I guess
you need them more than I do.
Yeah.
You can have the little bag of Cheerios. It's fine. I'll figure it out on my own. I would hate for it to happen, but whatever. But the things that are important to them, I'm not going to leave there.
When we were there with my mom, we were like, she's like, I can just leave my jacket in here while we go on this ride, right? And we're like, no, you cannot. She goes, really? I'm like, if it was just an ordinary jacket, I'd say go for it. But it's a Disney Minnie Mouse jean jacket and she wears it a lot. We bought it for her last year. And I'm like, it won't be there when we get back.
Right.
I would want to wear somebody else's jacket, especially like in Florida where people like could be sweating. And like, that grosses me out. Like, why would anyone do that? Like ever?
Because they can take it home and wash it.
Yeah, but you still have to carry it around in the heat. I don't.
You're not thinking like a criminal.
Yeah, I guess that's my problem. I could never be that kind of criminal because I'm too like germophobic and OCD to ever want to like touch anybody else's stuff.
And I do not blame you.
Every time you wore it, you'd think, ugh.
Yeah, like even if you wash it, like I mean, and I'm not saying I'm like I don't want to like help people with things or like if I'm around you guys, like I was cold, I would wear your sweatshirt because I know you're like a clean person. But the idea of just seeing it random on the street, I would also think too, like if it fell off a stroller, like it actually fell off your scooter or whatever, that like there's a reason it's on the ground. Like maybe you were like, I got some kind of fluid on there that it's just not worth it. Like I'm not touching it. It's not happening. It's just not gonna happen. Not with me. Okay, well let's move on to some more not awesome behavior at another theme park. So, as Stephanie just said, some Disney guests don't follow the rules. Since the pandemic, Disney's had its fair share of rule breakers. Some have even been removed from rides, and in severe cases, guests get removed from parks. So while Disney takes guests off rides, installed more cameras, and hired more security, guest behavior seems to be spiraling ever onward and downward. With that being said, a recent report from Missouri's World of Fun could be the next logical step if this damaging behavior remains such a consistent problem. After a massive brawl reportedly involving 100 to 150 teenage visitors, the amusement park has issued a statement that would require underage visitors to be accompanied by an adult. The report reads, World of Fun announced it would be implementing a chaperone policy requiring all people ages 15 or younger must be with a person who is at least 21 in order to be admitted to or remain in the park after 4 p.m. Missouri is the show me state, so we're glad they are showing the rule breakers they can't ruin the fun for everyone.
Where is Worlds of Fun?
It's on this side of Kansas City in the Missouri side.
I haven't been there in years. They've got a lot of good coasters.
They do have a lot of good coasters. I haven't been there since I was younger either.
Yeah.
A brawl of 100 to 150 teenagers.
I can't even imagine that.
Oh my goodness, that's like my worst nightmare. Can you imagine trying to break that up?
No, I can't.
No.
How much hair pulling and scratching was probably happening?
I like that they're holding them accountable though.
Yes.
That's just so disconcerting for me as the mom of a teenager who like
yes,
she thinks she's just getting to that part in her life where she can have some freedom and go have fun. And if it's not her mom being protective and being scared enough about just the world we live in of, is this okay for you to be alone? Is this okay for you to go with a friend and walk here? Is this okay for you to do this? Always questioning myself. But then you have people that like ruin the fun for everybody else. And then it won't even be an option.
right.
when Michael was 14, 12, 13, 14, 15, well, up until the pandemic, we had season passes to Six Flags. And it would, because Mike and I can't ride a lot of the rides at Six Flags, it would not be uncommon for us to bring a friend, because we would buy the passes in 4-packs. So we would buy passes for the 3 of us and then a friend of Michael's. So we would always bring a friend with us. And Mike and I would kind of just stroll around the park and do our own thing. Where Mike and our little Michael and his friend, they were old enough that while we were in the park with them, they could go and do their own thing.
Right.
But 150 rowdy teenagers would ruin that for him. Where my kid's the good one.
Right.
See, and when you read that, I just thought you have to accompany them to the park, not be with them the entire time in the park. I was just more so thinking like parents dropping kids off and saying like, I'll pick you up in a couple hours.
They do that too. They do that at Kings Island, at our park nearby me. So I know that happens. Like I kind of finally got to the part where I was like, okay, you can go ride the coasters with your friend while I take Leslie on the kiddie rides. There was a couple of days I did that last summer.
Yeah, and I feel like that's fine. So if they're saying that you can't even do that anymore, that really stinks for the good kids. I mean, it's miserable for the adults too, because you want to just you don't want to go wait in those lines.
Well, especially if they're 16 or 17, because that means you could drive yourself there.
Yeah.
I mean, that when they start imposing rules on kids that are 16, 17, that's where I'm just like, now this one wasn't that bad. That was
I think this
15 or younger. So if you could drive yourself there, you could be there alone. But I know like our mall is doing stuff like that, like no one under 18 at such and such hours. And I'm like, you're legally allowed to drive yourself there, but you're not allowed to go in.
Well, there was too much in our mall. I'm sure that's the same thing for yours. That there was too much theft
and fighting.
Yeah. Fighting over stupid stuff.
The Epcot monorail lost power Monday morning, stranding guests for over an hour and had been towed to the station. Instagram user Graham Hall, who is Instagram132, took some photos of the monorail. According to Graham, the monorail was stuck for over an hour, and before they were towed to the Epcot monorail station, they were instructed to wait for the doors to manually be opened so they can disembark. The stranded guests were being given 2 $25 Disney gift cards and a park ticket. They were also given free water.
I thought that was a funny statement.
I bet it was hot because it was in the upper 80s.
Just saying, you can get water free for all over the park.
Maybe it was smart water.
It was not. It was those little bitty baby bottles of water.
Oh, so I didn't check out where it was stranded. Where was it stuck? Was it like...
It was at the Epcot. So I think it was on its way to Epcot based on...
Like just in the middle of the loop or like...
Yeah, like the middle of no man's land.
Oh, wow.
The marshland. That's what it looked like in the pictures anyway.
Because I'm like, that'd be kind of cool if it were like stuck like in the middle of the park.
Now that would be cool because you could be looking to see what's going down there with what is her Tafiki? Is that her name?
Tafiti.
That would be fun. Okay, so this was just cool not to report on. Did you guys know that there's a dating app called Mouse Mingle?
No.
I'm not kidding. And I'm totally not saying this to my daughter because she'll be like,
she'll join it.
She should, because it's for regular dating rituals don't happen the regular way anymore. Because everybody is meeting Mr. Right or Miss Right on technology. I don't even know that they have those, those mixers they used to have where you would go and do speed dating or something.
Yeah.
I don't think they even do that anymore. And so this site is specifically for Disney fans that are single and they're looking to meet a mate that has the same love as them, Disney. The site is for the ultimate Disney fans, of course, to find their fellow Disney lover. The users can bond over their love of the parks, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, their favorite Disney movie or favorite character, or even more. They put all of this into their little
bio.
Yeah, their little bios. So on the downside is that the site does charge a monthly subscription fee, but I think most of them do now. But this has been around since 2015, and I've never heard of it. And
That's because it doesn't have an app.
Oh, I thought it said it did.
Well, I couldn't find it on my Apple App Store.
Huh. Well, I will have to dig deeper into this. It was created by David Tavres, a single Disney fan who wanted to connect with somebody that was passionate for Disney and the company and the parks. And so he created this app.
Haha. Sorry, I found it online.
Oh, okay. Users also include Disney cast members, so it's truly a place for everybody to connect. And while people are able to message and get to know each other on the site, many of them choose to meet up at Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or another Disney park for their first date or even a proposal spot. If you have been on Mouse
Wow.
Mingle, I would love for you to write into us and we would love to talk to you about this. And not to embarrass you, I seriously would love to hear about this, especially if you met the love of your life.
Yeah, I want to know if the founder found the love of his life.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, he created it for that reason. So did it happen for him?
So what did you find out, Brandy?
Okay, so Mouse Mingle is the place for people to connect who love Disney, Star Wars, Pixar, Marvel, and all the things Disney, who want that same magic in their relationships. Dedicated to fans of all things Disney, when traditional internet dating sites don't understand the passion people have for Disney, but we do. Oh my goodness. So it won't let you see much until you actually create an account and log in. I need just somebody who doesn't have a spouse, because I was just thinking if I can actually find the app. I didn't see the app in the App Store, but I could have been not looking hard enough.
I didn't see it either.
So I can't, I'm married and I don't need my spouse thinking that I have taken this too far.
No.
And somebody's got to get on here who's single.
Dennis is going to be like, wait a minute. So, do I not like Disney enough for you?
Oh, he definitely doesn't, but he tolerates it enough for me, and that's all that matters, because that's what love's all about. Yeah, that's you can't see much about it. It gave an option for another $5.55 a month. You would be upgraded forever, but I don't know what the initial fee is. You have to join and pay, but I will say I feel that there's a lot of I watch a lot of spurts of stand-up comedy on TikTok and stuff, just because I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy and I don't always have time to watch full specials or go out and see it. But I have heard multiple times when a lot of people that talk to the audience will go, so what's a red flag when you're dating? And I have heard 2 or 3 different people go, Disney adults. So
that is wrong.
me.
Disney adults, we're our own breed. So it would be helpful to just go ahead and
if you're not a Disney adult, then it could be a red flag. If you don't get it, then it
That's why you find a Disney love person.
How fun.
I think Kaylee should try it out. I'm all for it.
I'll tell her you requested it. We'll see what she says.
Tell her we need it for the research, just for the research aspect.
Yeah.
We don't have any single agent, so we need you to fill in.
That's what it is.
So if you're going to Walt Disney World and you're planning to visit a water park, you need to make sure that the water park you want to visit is going to be opened, because, well, we told you that in the past, Blizzard Beach was closing, and that was from mid-March for refurbishments. By the looks of the aerial photos posted last week, it's going to be quite a while before Blizzard Beach is reopened for business. The pictures showed water slide replacements in the behind-the-scenes area of the park, and both Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach have not been open at the same time since before the pandemic. We truly hope that when these refurbishments are done to Blizzard Beach, that Disney can have both water parks open again simultaneously instead of just picking one.
Okay, it's your turn this month. It's your turn next month.
Right.
Then it would alleviate some of the crowd in the park
Amen.
Yeah, when it's really hot.
during, especially those summer months.
That's what I was thinking. During the summer, they need to have both water parks open.
My sister and her family just went to Typhoon Lagoon over spring break, and she'd forgotten how much she enjoyed Typhoon Lagoon. She remembered going as a kid and as a teenager and a young adult, and she's forgotten how much fun I had.
I haven't been to the water parks.
I haven't either, but I do remember how much fun we had at the water parks when I was little.
Yeah, they're great. But I'm guilty. I never carved the time for them.
Same. I'm theme park. Gideon's cookies.
Well, moving on to some inside drama, sort of. Bob Iger finally shared why he fired Marvel executive Ike Perlmutter. Ike was the executive that sold Marvel to Disney. Marvel Studios has been dealing with some tough issues. The MCU isn't producing projects with the quality fans expect, and it's hurting their success. Marvel pledged to fix this problem, but so far nothing has changed except for a few movies being delayed. Marvel Studios did make some changes within their studio as several executives were fired this past month. One of them was Victoria Alonso, the president of Marvel's post-production. At first, this seemed like a bad thing to do. Marvel had really found the source of their problems, bad leadership. It was later reported that Alonso had a toxic workplace and was very adamant about what should be done, even if it hurt the project. This oversight allowed several VFX teams to struggle and not be able to have time to rest or get much needed sleep as work was brutal and constant, leaving several workers to leave the industry. For years, Parameter had been messing with the MCU and challenging Phage as he claimed that films about women or minorities wouldn't sell and was upset when movies about Captain Marvel and Black Panther were made. Iger had this to say, "There are times I handle it personally and there are times that I don't. I'd rather not get into details about this one. This was a necessary step in the direction of us creating a more efficient company. There was redundancy specific to the way Marvel was being managed."
Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder why Scarlett Johansson was so angry.
Right.
Toxic environment.
Did everybody know that roller coasters could actually be good for your health? This isn't some kind of Mickey Mouse scientific theory. An actual study has been published in the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association. It has recently been noted that some patients found that roller coaster rides dislodged kidney stones, making them easier to pass.
This is funny to me.
I know.
It makes perfect sense.
Oh,
Curious, scientists decided to put the theory to the test, and where better to do so than Walt Disney World? Researchers from Michigan State University's College of Osteopathic Medicine traveled to Orlando to hop on the wildest ride in the wilderness, Magic Kingdom's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. They rode Thunder Mountain approximately 60 times.
Wow.
Ooh, that gives me vertigo just
I
thinking
hope they
about it.
didn't stand in the line the whole time.
Right. During the ride, they carried silicone models of kidneys containing multiple sized kidney stones. Scientists concluded that a ride on a moderate intensity roller coaster could, in fact, benefit some patients with small kidney stones. It may have been their top ride of the trip, but Thunder Mountain wasn't the only attraction researchers put to the test. During their study, they rode multiple other attractions. Ultimately, they found that the layout and experience of Thunder Mountain, which reaches a maximum speed of 35 miles per hour and features 0 inversions, was the perfect combo. Back in 2007, a study recorded by the National Library of Medicine found that asthma patients noted more regular breathing during and after a roller coaster ride. Roller coasters have also been reported as beneficial sources of stress relief as the adrenaline rush floods the body with endorphins. Scientists are not suggesting you go ride a roller coaster rather than get medical care, and they want to remind everyone that the health warning signs on each ride are there for your safety.
So not big, fast roller coasters. It's got to be a moderate roller coasters.
That's
what the
what
study
it
showed.
said. But if you think about it, like if you're looking to move those kidney stones around, like Thunder Mountain,
Yes.
while it doesn't go fast, like
It's winging you around.
yeah, you move around like Rock and Roller Coaster. You're sitting there and you go whoosh.
Right.
But Thunder Mountain, you're like, right,
I'm thinking like wooden roller coaster.
like Screaming Eagle at Six Flags.
Yes, exactly. But that goes fast.
Yeah,
So
that
would-
goes 65 miles an hour. So would it have the same effect?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like, blah, 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 blah.
I like your imitation of that.
I do too, like
Chrissy.
that very much.
So yeah, like Space Mountain. Like that kind of, it's a smooth coaster, but you kind of,
Jerk around.
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
I will tell you, riding Tron, you're not going to get any kidney stones out. That is the smoothest roller coaster I've ever been on.
That's what I've heard.
So don't try to tell your boss you need to go shake out your kidney stones at Tron, because that's
But
not
would
going
it
to.
help with my asthma?
It might. I did find that very interesting because I don't know if you heard the trip report yet, Chrissy, but my mom
I
has
haven't
asthma.
yet.
Oh my gosh. We didn't trick her, but Kaylee, I feel like Kaylee did trick her because we waited in line for Slinky Dog. She was watching the ride while we were waiting in line, and she never even And she just got on it, and I made Kaylee ride with her. I'm like, you're riding with her. My mother does not do roller coasters.
And she wrote it. Oh, I'll listen. I've got to catch up on some podcasts.
She did. I need to post some more pictures. I've been posting a little bit at a time because it's overwhelming, I think, sometimes. But the picture of her and Kaylee is classic because they got the back of the dog of all things. And Kaylee was like, because that's the car they put you in when you have a DAS pass or something.
Right, right.
Scooter. Their hair was just like whoosh, flying in the wind. She loved it. She loved it. She just said that it would have been difficult if we would have told her. Probably she would have got all anxious and stuff. But
sure,
she did that. And then I thought she rode Seven Dwarfs with us the last time, so I just put her in the line for Seven Dwarfs. And we got in, and she goes, "Are you sure that I rode this? I don't remember this queue at all." And then all of a sudden, I said, "I don't think she rode this to Kaylee, but we're just going to let her ride it." And so I made Kaylee ride with her again. She laughed and giggled. It was totally worth it. And I'm glad that she did. Yeah. So maybe it is better for your asthma. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's what knocked out her blockage in her heart.
I'm not thinking a work excuse. I'm thinking like, oh, sorry, my doctor prescribed that I go to Disney.
Right. Right.
You know,
I just need a week. I need to reset my kidney stones. I need to recalibrate my lungs. It's all good.
I've already been warned I can't go back to Disney during hurricane season. Anyway, on Saturday night, Sunny Eclipse, if you don't know who that is, he's the animatronic star of Cosmic Rays and Magic Kingdom. He collapsed. It seems that he started emanating smoke and leaking oil until, like, I guess he couldn't take it anymore. I mean, he's an animatronic, and he collapsed onto his keyboard. The meltdown was witnessed in Tomorrowland around 7:29 p.m. on Saturday night. And in the videos, relatively large amounts of smoke could be seen traveling from Sunny toward the ceiling. Liquid was dripping from his signature keyboard at a pretty steady pace, and the steady flow of draining fluid can be seen falling. If you look up the video, you can see it right from the center underneath the keyboard. And while the smoke can be best seen in spotlights as it rises toward the ceiling, the audio animatronic entertainer held on for some time amidst the discharge and the smoke before he eventually collapsed onto his keyboard. It startled the guests, of course, to say the very least. I'm kind of sad because I feel like when something like this happens, that's when they want to take something away.
That's what I'm afraid of. He's
classic. He needs to stay. So somebody needs to figure out how to fix him.
Fix it.
That's my answer to everything.
Especially when it's classic, right?
Yep.
So Disney's Strange World was the worst box office flop of 2022. It lost Disney nearly $200 million. That's right, $200 million. The movie debuted on Thanksgiving, which, I mean, I used to work at a movie theater. Thanksgiving was the busiest day. It is typically a very, very busy movie days. People are going to eat their meal and then they want to do something just to kind of relax and enjoy some family time. So they head to the movies. So not sure, but it just flopped. That's all there is to it. It was released on Disney Plus before Christmas because it had done so poorly at the movies. It had cost Disney $317 million to make, and they were only able to recoup $120 million. And they even had some big stars in there, and it didn't do what they hoped. Keith was saying right now that Disney's currently questioning a little bit about like Mario and how Mario did so well at the theaters, and like, well, Disney's they've been swinging and missing lately. So what's going on? And they're a little bit bitter that Mario did so well. It's not, they were hoping that, well, maybe people just aren't going to the theaters anymore. Mm-hmm. But no, they just weren't going to see that movie. But I guess people still like going to the theaters. So Disney, step up your game. Okay. That's all I got to say.
And Mario is a beloved character. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews. Michael and I haven't seen it yet. It is on our list that we want to see. Mario's been beloved character for more than 30 years.
Right.
Everyone knows Mario and Luigi and Princess Peach and Bowser. I couldn't tell you and believe me, I'm a huge Disney nerd. I couldn't tell you two facts about Strange World.
Yeah.
No, we talked about this many episodes about how we felt like there was nothing out there really.
Right. I mean, even as far back as when I worked at the Disney stores, I mean, you had the toys, the books, the records, the plush, the clothes, the merchandising. I mean, I remember seeing a couple commercials. I couldn't tell you anything about the story.
I still can't tell you anything.
No, I mean, I had no interest to watch it. If I'm going to sit down and click on Disney Plus, I'm going to go with either a character that I'm familiar with, like The Mandalorian, or if it's something new, it's going to be something that I've heard some buzz about. And I heard absolutely no buzz about Strange World.
Well, and the buzz that you did hear, people weren't impressed.
Right.
So it just made it like, okay, well then, yeah, I have no interest in watching it.
It's not in Wesley's rotation yet, is it?
Oh, no. What are we? Oh, we are stuck right now on all of the Minions,
Okay.
which is not Disney, but like he has Big Gru and Tiny Gru that's the Minions before Gru, and Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2. Like, so those are the three in our big rotation right now. And if we're on Disney Plus, which is my favorite because I like to put on some Bluey because I feel like it kind of chills him out and it doesn't annoy the crap out of me. So
I need to watch. I watched a little piece one day and then Kaylee came in the room and was making fun of me, so I turned it off. But I kind of want to listen to it because you guys have all said it's
It's cute. It doesn't annoy me at all. I've heard people complain about it, and to them, I would like to say, you were not around when Caillou was a thing.
Be thankful for Bluey, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just like, Bluey's not annoying. You should watch Caillou. Like, then we'll talk about it.
You should watch Teletubbies.
Oh,
I'll never watch the Teletubbies.
Kaylee could be anywhere in the house and she'd hear the little music that came on where the little baby sun was coming up the sunrise, and she'd come running in through the house and you could hear her. And she was little, like she was really small for a very long time, and she like made the biggest noise trying to get to that TV. It was crazy.
Yeah, I was in like early high school when Teletubbies was on TV, and for me, it was just very much. I found it insanely creepy, like the baby in the sunshine and
Yes.
the odd little people and the hoo hoo and ha la da, da, like just all the noises and stuff. And I was just like, this is creeping me out. Like,
Yep.
I just know.
With Michael, it was the Wiggles.
Oh, those were cute.
We liked the
I
Wiggles.
loved the Wiggles.
The Wiggles and Barney and Bear in the Big Blue House, which is now
yes.
on Disney Channel. I mean
Mhm.
Disney Plus, and Lunette the Clown,
JoJo
Circus. Yep,
And then there was Handy Manny. He loved Handy Manny.
Bob the Builder. Okay, now we've reflected.
yeah, right. Memory lane.
I will say though, to your son, Brandy,
Mhm.
Despicable Me is one of my top 5 favorite movies. Despicable Me 2 is one of my top
Okay.
5 favorite movies of all time. I could watch that anytime, any
It
place.
really is cute. I mean, honestly, it came now, and I think it's interesting because it attracted Wesley to watch it much younger than it did Abby. Abby didn't get into those. I mean, part of it was her age, but she was much older before she would really watch any TV. So I mean, he'll be 3 in May, and I mean, a lot of it has to do with him being a pandemic baby and being home and
And second child.
yeah, and that. I mean, but honestly, I would have it on. I was able to watch what I wanted on television until she was almost 3.
Oh, wow.
Like, she did not care. And I put on, and I will say, I will forever love. I always was very partial to Tinkerbell. I would say she's one of my favorite Disney like iconic characters. But I was just flipping through the channels one time, and one of the Tinkerbell movies that weren't released in the theater, you know, they went straight to DVD and all that. It was on Disney Channel, and she just caught the fairies flying, and she got interested, and I went back to it, and all of a sudden she was glued. And she went through, and that was before streaming services. I had to buy all those DVDs when they came out. So she was hooked on those for the longest time. But that was the first thing she would ever watch. She watched Sesame Street and she watched Tinkerbell. And she was closer to 4 before she really got into like watching a movie. And even then it had to have like music and stuff in it. So I think that's with the Minions and stuff. She didn't get into those until much later. But I digress. Let's talk about a live action show at Disney World. So the Phantasmic Nighttime Spectacular at Disney's Hollywood Studios is reducing its showtimes just once per night later this month before closing briefly for refurbishment. Looks like after it's getting refreshed, it will briefly resume twice per evening shows. Beginning on Sunday, the Phantasmic Nighttime Spectacular will be reduced to one 9 p.m. performance for 1 week before a 2-day closure. When the show is finished with refurbishments in early May, it will return to 2 showings per night, 4 nights, before again being consolidated into a single performance. I wonder if it's because the demand's gone down since it's been back.
I don't know, but does anybody else think it's crazy that they just reopened and we're refurbishing already?
That's what I was thinking. Why? Why
Like,
are they
what did you not
refurbishing?
fix while you didn't have that show for 3 years?
Maybe they've found some kinks, in running it, like, oh, let's tweak this, let's tweak that. But why not run it twice a night after they get those kinks worked out?
I will say that Gina's friend, well, it's my friend now too, Amanda, that went on the girls' trip with us. We did their trip report last night and they got to see Maleficent's dragon. And that's like Kaylee's favorite part of Phantasmic, which I didn't realize that was so important to her. But anyway, that part specifically. And she was like, did they take the dragon out? And I was like, I don't know, honey. I didn't hear that, but I'm not sure. And she goes, oh, I hope it just was having a problem and it's going to come back. And then Amanda said that they got to see it. So Kaylee's everything's fine in the world now.
I'll say that was my favorite part. So
Right.
Maleficent in her dragon form is my favorite villain ever. So I'd be pretty upset.
There's so many neat additives that they put in and it just made it so special for us. Like, it was special watching my mom watch it because a lot of it, there were similar things, but the upgrades that they did with the lighting and stuff is truly amazing. So if you get a chance to see it when you go, you need to. Because I thought it was fantastic before, or I thought it was Phantasmic before.
I was going to say,
but
you're close.
it's even better.
Right.
Let's work out its name, huh?
It sure is.
Well, even more, fantastic news. We hardly ever get to share great news with you, but this week we saw some prices at Disney World go down. Yes, you heard correctly. Prices decreased at Walt Disney World. The Genie Plus and Lightning Lane prices rose to the highest ever during the month of March. We are excited to tell you that Genie Plus was $35 a person last week, and it has gone down to $20 a person this week. Lightning Lane prices were also $20 a person per attraction. While that is $5 more than when Lightning Lane started, it is still below what we had been seeing during spring break. Chant it with us, listeners. Keep prices down. Keep prices down. Keep prices down.
If that would only work.
Right. Right. I know it's demand pricing, but dang, that was pain because I'm 100% that nerd that checks my app at least twice a day.
I don't think you're a nerd. I think that makes you a Disney fan like the rest of us.
I mean, it's so expensive to add that on every single day. It's another, $130 for most families.
Yeah.
I will say, and maybe if we could go back to adding it to our package.
Thank you.
Because when I go click for Disneyland and it's just add Genie Plus, I'm like, okay, sure, click. I don't think about it. But when I'm like, oh man, $35. I mean, I'm going to do it anyway. So I guess it doesn't matter. But it's just easier to add it as part of my package like I did last year when we went in October and it was part of my package and I'd already paid for it.
It's just like we said, like with Disney dining, when we felt like it was an inclusive package, like it was paid for when we got there. We didn't feel like they're really missing their bet doing that. But I think at this point, I feel like we're beating a dead horse.
That's how I could sell my husband on it. Like so much. He isn't like a big, like, take me somewhere to lay on the beach. So the idea of selling him on that type of all inclusive wouldn't do anything for him. But when I can tell him that, when I told him that Disney would pick you up from the airport and take you to your resort And then once you got to your resort, you didn't have to drive anywhere. They took you wherever you wanted to go. Oh, and we've already paid for the majority of the food and alcohol even that we're going to have while we're there. You pretty much just have to think about what you're going to spend on. A few things aren't included in dining and, souvenirs the kid wants. He was sold.
Because it's the way to go.
I mean, it was incredible.
It really is.
The dining, that gift card promo, if that was kind of a way of easing back in.
I'm not sure.
Because it's the same, but it's not the same.
I'll tell you what, that was one of the coolest things that I enjoyed. While I missed being on property, that card was totally worth it because we had like $100 left. We each had $250 when we arrived, or no, $200 when we arrived. So $800, and we used it, but you can't use it at sit down, but we used it for Starbucks. We used it, that kind of stuff.
That's a lot for quick service.
Wow. I know. And so that last day when we were just chilling at the pool, so 3 of the 4 young adults, they partook of as many different kinds of beverages they could at the Polynesian bar because they had all the money. And I mean, it was paid for. It was already. So I really do like that thing. And I don't know. I don't know if that's going to make me do it again. I ruined my children by taking them to club level. Don't do it, Steph. Steph went to club level. Only do it with your husband.
No, that's what I thought. We'd only do it for us. And I'm like, you know what? I could totally have my kids here. This would be great. Now I want to go back.
I definitely, and listeners hear me, if you're going to only go to Disney every 5 to 10 years, or you're only planning to go to one trip, you definitely need to do the deluxe resorts and consider club level, because there's food there all the time. And people were taking food and drinks, put it in their backpack, taking it to the parks with them.
Oh yeah. They have little baggies for you to take the food.
Right.
So I'm like, if you're not going to go all the time, I highly recommend that, because I saw those parents and I thought, this is so nice. They didn't have to, do all this in the park. They taken them to just do the rides and stuff. Or when it was a pool day, they just packed up the bag and went down to the pool. It was so nice. It really, really was. I just, just can't see paying that money all the time if I'm going as much as I do, which is embarrassing to announce.
Multiple times.
It's really not much of a difference in price, like for Keith and I to go and do club level, or to go with the kids, because we're already paying the club level price, like for the room. Right. We're just throwing extra kids in it. Well, all we really have to do is buy their tickets. So I don't know. We'll do it again. We'll do it again for sure.
So before we close down the show, I want to give a shout out to my mom, Kathy, who's back to listening again. Gracie and Lola from Fairmont Finale. Margaret is one of my students, and her mom, Amanda. Lee and Crystal in California. Kelly and Jenny in Missouri. Angela is also in Missouri. Andrew, you have not texted us. I have your number. I'm going to start sending you orders of Gideon's cookies that Stephanie and I need.
Cookies, yes.
Travis, Ashley, Ben, and of course, Steph's mom, Brenda. We appreciate all of you guys, and thanks for celebrating the magic with us.
And my mom actually just this week was like, I heard that you guys are saying my name on the podcast. It makes me so excited. And she said, you're going to tell me how to go on and make comments and talk to you guys.
Okay.
So
we'll let
anyways, yeah, she's super excited about that. Anyways, thank you all for joining us, and thanks for listening. Be sure to go on Apple, or let's get it right this time, Podbean, and give us a rating and a comment. It means a lot. We love hearing from our listeners, and Mom, I'll teach you how to do it. Be sure to let us know what you'd like to hear more about, because we're always reshaping our show, and we like to cater to our listeners' needs.
And if you're interested in being a guest on our show, or you have a question or a comment, just text us. 636-373-4497. Check us out on social media, the Mousecapades Podcast on Facebook. If you would like a free quote, contact Chrissy, Stephanie, or Vicky at 636-373-4497, or even me, Brandy. Be happy to help you.
Be sure to listen to Friday's show. Vicky and Rebecca interview one of Vicky's second grade friends, Margaret, and her mom, Amanda, about their fall Walt Disney World trip. As always, thanks for listening to the #1 podcast that entertains the space between your ears, the Mousecapades and More podcast.
Well, girls, I think it's about that time. Disney love.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
Farewell, foolish mortals.
Have a magical day, my friends.
Deep in the 100-acre wood, where Christopher Robin plays, you'll find the enchanted neighborhood of Christopher's childhood days. A donkey named Eeyore is his friend. There's Kangaroo and Little Roo and Tigger too. There's rabbits and piglets and there's Owl. But most of all, Winnie the Pooh. Oh, Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Chubby little cubby all stuffed with fluff. He's Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Willy-nilly silly old bear. Where's our good friend Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh? Chubby little cubby all stuffed with fluff. He's Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Willy-nilly silly old soft and round, a heart of gold. No honey to spare.